Emily hadn't returned to Blackthorn Cove in 10 years. The small coastal town held too many memories, both beautiful and painful. As the taxi drove her through the winding roads, the distant lighthouse came into view, standing tall on the rocky cliffs. "That old thing is still standing," she muttered, a bittersweet smile crossing her face. The driver chuckled. The Blackthorn Lighthouse never lets anyone forget. When she arrived at the small cottage her grandmother left her, Emily felt a strange mix of comfort and unease. The lighthouse seemed to cast its shadow over everything, a silent reminder of her past. That night, unable to sleep, Emily walked down to the beach. The lighthouse beam swept across the dark waves, steady and bright. She remembered the last time she was here, standing on this very beach with Daniel. Daniel had been the love of her life. They spent endless summers exploring the cove, laughing under the stars, and promising to always find their way back to each other. But one stormy night, he disappeared, leaving her with nothing but questions. Emily stood by the water, lost in thought, when the lighthouse beam suddenly flickered. She frowned. That had never happened before. As she turned to leave, something caught her eye. A faint glow appeared near the base of the lighthouse, almost like a signal. Curiosity got the better of her, and she climbed the rocky path leading to the lighthouse. The door creaked open as she approached, as if it had been waiting for her. Inside, the lighthouse smelled of salt and old wood. Dusty books and maps were scattered across a desk, and a large journal lay open. Emily hesitated, then flipped through its pages. The handwriting was familiar, and her heart skipped a beat. It was Daniel's. The entries were fragmented, describing his nights spent at the lighthouse before he disappeared. One line stood out: "The light remembers everything. It keeps the pieces of us alive." Emily's hands trembled as she read on. The last entry was dated the night of the storm. It ended abruptly: "If I don't return, follow the light." Emily climbed the spiral staircase to the top of the lighthouse, her heart pounding. The beacon was steady now, casting its light far over the sea. As she approached the lens, she noticed something strange. The light wasn't just shining, it was reflecting shapes, almost like shadows moving within the beam. "Daniel," she whispered. The shadows shifted, forming patterns she couldn't quite understand. She felt an overwhelming pull, as if the light itself was calling her. She found an old, tarnished key on the floor near the lens. Attached to it was a small tag that read, "The chest beneath the rocks." Emily returned to the beach, clutching the key tightly. The rocks near the base of the lighthouse were jagged and slippery, but she carefully searched until she found a small, weathered chest wedged between two boulders. The key fit perfectly. Inside, she found a bundle of letters, each addressed to her in Daniel's handwriting. Tears streamed down her face as she read the first letter. "Emily, if you're reading this, it means the light brought you back. I knew it would. I never wanted to leave, but there are things I can't explain here. The lighthouse holds the answers. Trust it and trust us." The final lines were smudged, but one thing was clear: Daniel had left these letters for her to find, knowing she would return. Emily clutched the letters close to her chest, feeling a strange combination of grief and hope. She returned to the lighthouse and spread the letters on the desk, searching for any hidden meaning. In one of the letters, Daniel described a specific star that appeared in the lighthouse's beam. "The star in the light, it's the key. When it shines, follow its direction." Emily climbed to the top of the lighthouse again, watching the beam as it swept across the dark sky. She scanned the heavens and finally saw it, a bright, solitary star glowing in the distance. "I hope this works," she whispered, grabbing a flashlight and heading toward the direction of the star's light. The star's light guided Emily to the edge of the cove, where the waves crashed against the cliffs. She noticed a narrow path leading down to a cave hidden in the rock face. As she stepped inside, the air grew cooler, and her flashlight illuminated strange markings on the walls. Symbols and words were carved into the stone, their meaning just out of reach. In the center of the cave, she found an old lantern sitting on a pedestal. Beneath it was another note in Daniel's handwriting. The lantern will show you the truth. Light it when you're ready." Emily's hands trembled as she lit the lantern. The markings on the walls glowed faintly, and the cave seemed to hum with energy. The glowing walls revealed fragments of the past like moving photographs. Emily watched in awe as the scenes played out before her. She saw Daniel standing at the lighthouse, speaking to an unseen figure. The storm raged outside, waves crashing against the cliffs. He carried the chest to the cave, carefully placing the letters inside before looking back toward the lighthouse beam. Then came the final image, Daniel turning to face her, his expression calm but filled with urgency. His voice echoed through the cave, "Emily, the light holds our story. It will guide you if you trust it." The images faded, leaving Emily alone in the dim glow of the lantern. She took a deep breath, her heart pounding. "What are you trying to tell me, Daniel?" Emily returned to the lighthouse, clutching the lantern tightly. She climbed to the top, where the beam of light continued its steady rhythm. Placing the lantern on the floor near the lens, she noticed how its light refracted through the glass. It created a pattern on the walls, dots and lines that resembled a constellation. Following her instincts, Emily traced the pattern with her fingers. The wall behind the lens clicked and slid open, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside was a small device that looked like a compass, but its needle pointed not north, but directly out to sea. "Another clue," Emily murmured, feeling both anxious and determined. The letters had mentioned the lighthouse beam as a guide. Holding the compass, she realized it wasn't pointing to land. It was directing her towards something beyond the horizon. The next morning, Emily hired a small fishing boat to follow the compass's direction. The sea was calm, and the lighthouse grew smaller in the distance as she ventured further. Hours passed before she saw it, a tiny island barely visible above the waves. On the shore stood a figure waiting. Emily's heart raced as the boat approached. The figure stepped closer, and she gasped. It was Daniel. He looked older, his face lined with years of hardship, but his eyes were the same. "Emily," he said, his voice breaking. "You found me." Tears streamed down her face as she stepped onto the island. "Why did you leave? Why didn't you come back?" Daniel took her hands. "The lighthouse wasn't just a guide, it was a protector. I had to stay away to keep the light strong, but I knew you would find me when the time was right." Together, they walked along the shore, their steps illuminated by the lighthouse beam in the distance. The compass in Emily's hand pulsed faintly, a reminder that some love stories never fade. They simply wait for the right moment to be found again.